This is our 2019 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road that we purchased last year in May. We had been out west at Overland West as part of a larger trip that we had done up to Alaska in our GX and our 100 series. And we left our GX out in Salt Lake City and flew home last May to take about a month break before we went back out and did some more travel. Anyways, just kind of fell in love with some of the Toyota builds that we saw at Overland West, and I had kind of been wanting another truck anyway, so we decided to add this to our lineup, and thought it might be fun to give a walk around to this. We did one with our 100 series, we did one with our GX, and just like all of you, we've been in quarantine now for over a month, well over a month, and just wanted something to do. It's a nice day, so we're on a deserted road, not too far from where we live, social distancing, and so let's get to it and take a walk around, and we'll show you what we did with this build, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. We'll be glad to answer them. All right, so I guess first things we could talk about here is the suspension. This truck, Mainline Overland did this build for us up in Westchester, Pennsylvania. They also did our GX build. We have a video out on that if you want to see about that build. But suspension-wise, we went with their GTS branded suspension on this. I think they advertise it as a 2-inch lift. It's basically Dobinson components with SPC upper control arms, and we did do the heavy kit in this, so we've got the heavier leafs here in the rear. We have not yet put a rear bumper on this truck, but that's probably coming here at some point. But right now I'm happy because it fits in my garage. Once I put a bumper on it, it probably won't lengthwise. So I'm kind of happy not to have a bumper right now, and it's working for us. Wheel-wise, we have gone with the Evo Course wheels. We're running these actually on all of our rigs, both our 100 series and our GX build. They've been great. We love them. I think they look great, and especially kind of digging these on this cement-colored Tacoma here. All right, so moving on up, we've got our Safari snorkel that we had installed on this. You know, because snorkel, everybody needs a snorkel. I actually try to stay out of the water if I can, but I kind of like them. They look cool, and supposedly they pull cleaner air in at a higher distance, right? Desert air intake, if you're buying it from Toyota. Anyway, so that's what we've got going on here. Down here, we are running the Mainline Overland sliders for 3rd Gen Tacoma. We have very similar sliders on the GX. They've been great, makes a nice step. No complaints about them at all. Up here, we are running a front runner roof rack. Again, we're running front runner racks on all 3 of our rigs so we can share components between them, which has been pretty nice. We do occasionally move things around. And I already got the mounts for tents and so forth if I want to move a tent or something. So I just think it's nice to start with the system and stick with it. And front runner's been a great one for us. And lots of accessories that they have. So if you need it for a rack mount, they probably have it. Moving on back here, we are running the Voodoo bed rack here. This thing is pretty slick. My main purpose in putting this on here was to just have a way to mount my bikes. I do quite a bit of cycling, and it just makes an easy way to carry my bikes around. We are probably at some point going to be putting a rooftop tent on this rig. I have one on order right now for the 100 series. As soon as this quarantine stuff is over, we're going to be heading out west with the 100 series most likely, and the GX, bringing along some more folks, and so I've got a tent that's going to be on the Land Cruiser, but when that tent is done being utilized on the Land Cruiser, I'm probably going to move it over to this truck, and when it's just the 2 of us, we'll probably be using this, doing a little more camping here and there, and so we don't always have to take the GX depending on what we're doing. Moving around to the back here, as I said earlier, we are not yet running a bumper. At some point I'm probably going to do that, but right now I didn't really want the added weight, and it still fits in my garage, which I'm happy about. But we are running the Toyota bed cover here from the factory, the OEM cover. That's been great. It's not 100% watertight, but it's watertight enough for what we were looking for. So let me go ahead and show you what we have going on back here. Okay, so one of the reasons I wanted to get this Voodoo rack was because I still wanted to be able to get into my bed fairly easily. So one of the things I love about this is I've got these, I don't really know if I consider them quick releases, but they're releases that I can come and take this rail off if I need to get into the bed. So basically it goes like this, come right here, and I can just lift that right off, and I usually just set it back here behind the truck. And then I can come right here, open the bed, and I can fold this cover back and pretty easily get here into the truck. So what we have going on back here, these are the Victory 4x4 bed panels for the Tacoma. We've got them on 3 sides. We've got them right, left, and here in the rear. We also, over here on the other side, you guys that are familiar with the 3rd gen, there is a panel back here with a door on it that we had mainline install power for us in. So we have power to run our fridge to. So that's kind of nice. Fridge fits perfectly underneath this factory bed cover. The only thing is, you know, you won't be able to run a tray or a slide for your fridge. It just barely fits sitting here on its own. So usually what I do is I just put it in here and I'm just strapping it down with some Tighten straps. It's plenty secure. And, you know, I've run a couple thousand miles with this fridge back here at this point. And it's been fine. It's never been a problem or gone anywhere. Anyway, so getting back to these panels, I think they're just super slick, and it's a good way to keep all your recovery gear kind of out of sight, out of mind, and still pretty accessible if you need to get to it. We've got our high lift back here, and our shovel, and our axe, and our jack stand, and I've got my dead man back here. So basically, you know, all the basic recovery gear we would need. Once we get inside the cab, I'll show you where we're keeping the rest of our recovery gear. But this is what we have going on back here. And like I said, this is so easy to deal with. It's just this kind of whole system here, right? So tailgate up, do this, then I can very easily just come right back over here, put this on, go, it's tight, around to the other side. So, you know, as long as you're not transporting a bike on here. If you've got a bike on here, you need to get in and out. It's a little more involved because I have to take the bike off. But, you know, without a bike on here, I can get in and out of the bed in, you know, 30, 40 seconds without a whole lot of grief, which is a pretty nice system. So, really like that. Rack's been plenty strong. I can stand on it. I mean, it's not, you know, can hold plenty of weight. See? No problem there. So, wanted to move around and show you what we got going on in the hood, under the hood. So, we've got a dual battery set up in here running Odyssey red tops. We have our dual ARB air compressor that is only used for airing tires up and down right now. I'll talk about the locker situation here in a minute. And then we've got our Red Arc management system, which we are also running in the GX, and it's been pretty flawless, and it's been just as flawless here as well. All right, so front bumper wise here, we are running the mainline Overland bumper. I believe this was the first one they had installed on a third gen Tacoma, but it's great. It's minimalist. That's what I was looking for. I didn't want something that was too terribly heavy. Really, I'm trying to be weight conscious of this rig, unlike the GX. We've also got our Baja Designs light bar we're running up here, and our come up winch. So those have both been great. This light, pretty crazy the amount of output it has. I've been really impressed with it. Down here, we are running RCI skids, same as we are on our GX build as well. And you know, nobody ever has anything bad to say about RCI skids, so good choice to go with. All right, moving inside. What? It's a 6-speed manual. That's the best part of this truck. It's been a while since we've had a manual. I think the last manual I had, was that my JK? No, we had a TJ that we also had in between. And I think that was the last manual we had in the family. So I was kind of happy to get back in a manual. Plus added bonus with the manual, you actually get 430 gears from the factory versus the automatic. So it's livable with the 33s, the 275, 285, 70, 17s that we're running on this truck. But I probably honestly am still going to end up re-gearing it. I was kind of hopeful from before I bought this truck, and people had seemingly had good experiences with the 430s. And I won't say it's awful. It's livable. I've had, you know, I've been using it with the factory gears. Just, you know, always feel like you could have a little bit more power. And if we add any more weight to this, like I talked about, we're potentially putting on a rear bumper, you know, which is obviously going to add weight. Another mod we actually have sitting up in Pennsylvania right now with all this quarantine lockdown is a LRA tank for it. So we're putting in the, it's a replacement tank for the Tacoma, so it's going to take it to 33 gallons. I think we have, what, 21 point something now. So decent bump in our range. But anyways, that's going to be more weight as well. So like I said, at some point I see me probably going to 488s. But good to know, if you plan on buying one of these, at least if you get a manual, you do get 430 gears from the factory. And it is livable with the build like we have right now. It's not awesome, but it's livable. Also, with the TRD, if you're familiar with Toyota, that usually gets you the rear locker, or the TRD off-road at least. So we also do have the rear factory locker in this. No front locker in this build. So on the inside here, on this side, not a whole lot going on. We've just, you know, we've got our dual battery gauge here, just like we're running in our GX. It's a nice clean gauge. I also just recently, while we've been in quarantine, ordered this phone mount, and I cannot for the life of me remember who I got that from. But it's a nice sturdy mount. If I can remember, we'll put that in the links for the YouTube video. Also had these awesome clips that you can use to clip your cord in, just to kind of help with your cord management a little bit. So that's been pretty slick. All right, in the rear back here, so I just want to show you. I've been trying to do everything kind of just clean. You know, you see, we don't have panels. I don't have bags and things in here, but there's actually quite a bit of storage inside this Tacoma. So let me just show you what we have going on here. Behind the seats here, if you take a look back there, we've got our bag of recovery gear. So, you know, our straps and shackles and so forth. I've also got our tire repair kit in here, our deflator, and that all fits cleanly right back here. You never even know it's there. So that's kind of nice. Then under the seat here, you've got this additional compartment here in the Tacoma. We keep some of our Titan straps that we use to tie things down if we need to. There's my front license plate I should be running because I live in Virginia and that's the law. So that's all pretty neat and tidy. Let's move around to the other side and I'll show you what we have going on behind those seats. Okay, so over on this side, behind this seat here, we have our first aid kit and an ice scraper, which we really didn't need that much this year. Didn't really snow much. Underneath of this seat, we have another compartment. This compartment actually opens all the way across if you have both seats. But in here we have our Blue Ridge Overland gear tool roll. I'm running one of these in the GX2. It's great. So we've got a complete tool set in here, all the tools we might need. So just one of the things I really like about this truck is it's just not super cluttery. You don't see a bunch of gear everywhere, but we have all of the gear that we need and pretty much equally as stocked in here as we are in the GX. One thing I did forget to mention is that we also, on that side of the truck over there, we had an additional power installed, 12 volts, to run the fridge on. So occasionally I will pull the fridge inside and fold the seat down. It makes a nice flat surface. And I can show you that. Why not? Let's go over there. Okay, so pull this seat back up. And this isn't going to completely fold because I have the headrest on. You take the headrest off. But this will fold down flat, and then you can put the fridge on it. And then right here, Mainline installed power for us. You can take a look at. And so we can run the fridge inside or, plug phone in or whatever we need to do back there. There's not otherwise any power back here in the Tacoma, which I don't know what is up with Toyota and not doing that. Our GX was the same way. There's no power in the rear seat at all, and we installed a bunch of power when we did the build. But same thing back here in the Tacoma. There's really no power, so at least we have one outlet back here for charging phones or plugging the fridge in. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything that I forgot to mention that people might want to know. I did not talk about the spare tire. It does fit in this stock location with these 285/70 R17, so just something to know if you're thinking about doing a similar build. You can get that in the stock location, no problem. Otherwise, upcoming mods, I think I talked about the LRA tank. I don't think I have any more mods coming for this. The tent at some point will probably go on. The tent we're going to put on a Land Cruiser for the immediate time. And maybe at some point I'll do a front locker and we're going to re-gear. That's it. And a bumper. I talked about that also. So I don't know. Maybe we do have a few more mods we're going to do. I keep thinking we don't. But for right now, I'm really happy with this build. And it just gives us another option to take out and have some fun with. So I guess that's it. Hopefully somebody will find this a little bit useful, and I know we're counting the days until the country opens back up, and we've already got a trip planned and we'll be out there pretty soon, we hope.